In June of 2023, Diablo 4 was released to mostly positive response. And in January of 2024, I finally finished Diablo 3. So that's the one we're going to talk about today. Diablo 3 is a dark fantasy hack-and-slash action adventure RPG, which is a lot of words to describe using the same two spell slots to die amongst a horde of enemies because you lost sight of your character. It is a dark fantasy game in the realm of making your parents believe you're worshipping the devil variety. So that's fun. This is the third game in a franchise and series of an overarching world. So there are characters and there is lore that kind of repeat and show up from previous games. None of which I knew prior to playing this game. I knew the title or character of Diablo, but like specifics of people and Easter eggs did not know, did not recognize, did not impact my ability to gain information or be lost while trying to gain information. Knowing that this character is from Diablo 1 or 2 would not have helped me understand the information that was given to me when I got it. This is a me problem, not the game problem. But based on that experience, you can totally play Diablo 3 without playing Diablo 1 or 2 and be perfectly fine. The game features a prophecy, because of course it does, a fallen angel, and the Nephilim, which is you. And you, the Nephilim, visit New Tristram. There must have been an old Tristram at some point, but now it's New Tristram, because something fell from the sky causing a giant crater. And you decide to wander into the village to investigate it. You learn from a character there that this is the start of a prophecy, and they believe this is an angel. And if it is an angel, they would have had a weapon. It probably shattered upon impact. And if you could please go gather random person who walked into a village that no one knows, if you could please gather these items and reforge the sword, it can propel the prophecy to fulfillment. If it sounds like I'm giving you all of the plot up front, calm down. This is the opening cinematic. There's 5 whole chapters worth of story that escalate all the demon slashing and exploding fun to the point of even reaching the pearly gates themselves and doing battle there. You get to play as one of 7 different character classes, which I'm going to name from memory in one go, starting now. You can play as the monk, the demon hunter, the necromancer, the barbarian, the crusader, the witch doctor, and the wizard. Ha! One take. I'm lying. That was like 7,000 tries. I personally played 3 of the characters. My wife played 1. I mostly stuck to the crusader, but I also tried the witch doctor and the demon hunter, and my wife played the necromancer. Each of these character classes provide a whole unique experience of interacting with the world, the spells they use, the way they attack, the style, where they pull from their magic source is fantastic. My crusader used wrath as a source of magic. When my wrath thing would go empty, it would go, "You're out of wrath." And I would go, "No, I'm not. I'm full of wrath. Give me more wrath. Let me use my wrath." It was a love-hate relationship. But the uniqueness of each of these characters is fantastic. The problem is that around the start of the second act, the gameplay loop of smash towards demons turning into gold gets kind of repetitive. You do have plenty of spells and attacks, but you really do rely on like the first 2 options that you memorize because of how chaotic things are. And it kind of gets a little bit repetitive. And the allure of starting again with fancy new spells that you're not familiar with tends to win out. And there are a couple things that contribute to whether or not you're going to play the first act 7 different times or play 1 or 2 characters all the way through to the end. The fact that you can play with a friend on the same system, in the same room, or through the internet on the same adventure is my favorite way to play anything all the time, ever. it absolutely adds to the chaos and the shenanigans and the fun, which is what I am here for personally. It lengthens the time it takes for the gameplay loop itself to get boring. And even during the periods where it might be repetitive to press the same 2 buttons, the fact that you have someone yelling about the chaos next to you inherently increases the amount of fun you are having. But I mentioned briefly, the gameplay loop of destroy demons turn into gold, which is fun and exhilarating. I personally did not craft a single item that I could have, and never once bought an item from a merchant. I just used what I needed from what I found from the remains of the enemies I destroyed, which is so metal, and hoarded everything into a money bin that I would sometimes swim in, like Scrooge McDuck. So I can attest that the allure of finding specific items, or like the fact that every time you start the game over, it's different loot that you'll find, except for mission-specific rewards. I could see that being a reason to keep playing the game, or even after you finish the game to come back and play along with another character. But that in itself, because I wasn't really utilizing that much, that was probably why I felt the gameplay loop die out as early as I did. The story is fantastic, and it grows in epicness and scale and darkness and body horror towards the end. And eventually, wanting to see the story play out does carry enough weight to get you past the fact that the gameplay loop kind of dies out. Also, there is player versus player combat. Do not try, don't care. Nothing about this game screams, let me be hyper competitive and lose my friendships. That's not what this game is for. I know it's a major component that they advertise. Didn't try it, don't care, never will. So, also, it has nothing to do with the story, so it's not going to help you finish playing out the story anyways. The ambiance in this game is outstanding. It is, for the most part, consistent and grows, like I mentioned, in epic scale and darkness. It starts dark, like the world already ended and you're just trying to bring it back to life. And the further you go into the depths of hell and then heaven, the darker and more engrossed you get into this defiled world. And it's mesmerizing. It is really cool. In fact, like there is, like, through between like acts 2 and 3, there is a heavy reliance on spider-based stuff. Not a fan of spiders. Hate spiders. Dark fantasy as a whole likes to rely on spiders, which sure, why not? Even like the witch doctor character, one of their spells is just throwing spiders at enemies. So there's spiders everywhere. Specifically between chapters 2 and 3 of the story, there are underground caverns, of course, that you tend to wade through demonic hordes with. And they tend to be filled with spider enemies of different sizes and shapes, and gooey egg sacs that you burst and explode with baby spiders that rush you. Oh my god! But also, ever so often in this cavern, or other caverns, a spider would crawl down your screen on its way to bite you in the face. And I would scream every single time. And I hated how much I loved that it fit with the ambiance and made the game better. It's not cool. Not cool at all. In chapter 2, arc 2 of the story, there's a part where you're in an underground cave thing, and you find and bump into a person who is hidden in a barrel from a previous encounter of stuff. And it turns out that this person is a jeweler and possibly a trickster god. They end up being the one who's responsible for crafting jewels into your weapons or armor if you want to do that. Again, never tried it, don't know. But they are also the only person of the merchants, or the only merchant within the group of merchants, that does not change from chapter to part of the world that you're traveling to. He's always there. So I think that is the clue that he's a trickster god. Anyway, none of that matters. What matters is that the jeweler is voiced by James Hong, who's also the voice of Poe's father in Kung Fu Panda. That's right, the goose. And he spends the whole time you're in the cavern backseat adventuring you with passive aggressiveness of how good you are not doing and how you can do it better and back in his day and how much safer it would be at home and why are you venturing in the first place. And after 5 minutes, I legitimately wanted to go home and help my dad with his noodle shop. My dad doesn't even have a noodle shop to help with. But it was awesome. And I will admit, does not fit with this game. However, if this is a thing that pops up in the game and makes you absolutely rage with how it doesn't fit, we are not friends. This is my jam. I don't need it the entire game, but it was a nice little levity boost and chaotic fun, and that is my style. I will say, the thing that got me to finish the story, to cling on long enough, because as adult schedules happen, the ability to play co-op kind of wanes, and that was my favorite part of the game was playing co-op, and as that wanes, I kind of stopped playing. And then at some point, I had the urge to play Doom, which is not Diablo. Diablo, as previously mentioned, is a dark fantasy hack and slash RPG. Doom is a first-person sci-fi monster shooter. Even though those sounds completely different, both of them feature simple but cool stories while you run around hell/Mars/mystical worlds and shoot minions of hell on a chaotic scale. And that vibe of just you versus everything and it being chaos was what I was kind of searching for, and it gave me that by playing Diablo 3 again. And that feedback that I got from realizing that's what I wanted had me re-pick up the game and get into it enough to want to see the end of the story past the second act. So that being said, if I'm rating this game on a scale of bare fist to BFG, which are Doom references, I'm going to say this is a minigun, which is actually kind of cool because the Demon Hunter class has an auto-fire crossbow feature which plays very much like a minigun and is so OP, so totally fun though. You should totally try it out. Which is basically the verdict of this review. You should totally play it. You should absolutely play Diablo 3. I have no idea how good Diablo 4 is. I have not played it yet. See me next time when I review something else way past its prime. Congratulations! You made it to the end of the video. You have unlocked my permission for a second serving of dessert. While you're enjoying that, double check that you're subscribed, just in case.